You're watching the award-winning GHS-TV, a nationally recognized student television station.
Hello, and welcome to GHS-TV's award-winning talk show, Crosstalk. I'm your host, Shiloh Sanders. Each week, we discuss topics important to our diverse community. This week, we are exploring the criminal justice system in the Mid-South and what the courts and MPD are doing to keep kids out of the juvenile system. For many, interest in criminal law starts in high school. The Criminal Justice Program here at Germantown offers rigorous classes that go in depth on policy and offer real-world experiences to students. It prepares them for a career in law and justice-related fields. Here to tell us more about the program is Dr. Michael Collins, criminal justice teacher here at Germantown. Thank you for joining me, Dr. Collins.
You're welcome.
So before we get into the classes, can you tell me about your personal connection to criminal justice?
My personal connection began when I was in the Marine Corps. I served 12 years in the United States Marine Corps. After the Marine Corps, I joined the Shelby County Sheriff's Office, and I was a patrol officer and a supervisor within that agency for 25 years.
So can you tell me about the classes that you teach here at Germantown?
I teach introductory class, Criminal Justice 1, and then you matriculate to the Criminal Justice 2 class, and the last year is dual credit Criminal Justice, where students get college credit for that particular criminal justice course.
So what does the curriculum look like for the students that take the criminal justice classes?
Well, it begins with the foundational aspects of law when we're dealing with the elements of what makes a crime a crime. For instance, you have to have probable cause to initiate a particular enforcement action, and then it matriculates on into the court system and then into the corrections aspects of the criminal justice field, on and on. But a lot of those components include things like counseling services, law enforcement, or the attorneys, the judicial system in itself.
So what are some of the most important lessons that you teach in your class?
Well, the most important thing is, as it relates to the course itself, if a student end up going into the field of criminal justice, that's important as it relates to me in this particular program. We want to see the success of a person that actually utilized the program as a career. Then the second part to that, if you're not going into the criminal justice system, at least you will have a better understanding of what the criminal justice system is all about. And that's the basis of this particular course in itself.
So I know you get very hands-on with your students and the lessons that you teach. So can you tell our audience a little bit about the crime scene lessons that you do?
Well, the crime scenes are really for our forensic classes in the Criminal Justice 2 classes. There's a component there that help process crime scenes and things of that nature. It really gives a student the proper understanding as to what a crime scene process look like. And then what we do after we process the particular crime scene, investigate that particular crime scene, then we turn it into a case. And then the students will better understand all of those particular elements when you go through the steps of a crime scene to help identify evidence and things of that nature that help build the case in itself. And then that shows what the process actually looked like.
So along with the crime scene lessons, I know you take your students on many field trips throughout the years.
Yes.
So can you tell me about some of the places that you take them?
Well, the most important field trips are the educational field trips, where I take the students to other colleges and institutions that have a very good criminal justice program, because one of the things that's really important in the criminal justice field is the education component, because there's a lot of things that's very complex as it relates to law, because some of these cases that it begins in law enforcement end up in the U.S. Supreme Court, and the interpretation of law is vital. So that's why I push the education component when we take students to colleges. I'm hoping that they will actually go to college, get that education that is vital within this particular career in this particular field. The other field trip that I like to take the students on, I like going down to the courtrooms itself to let them see what the criminal justice system look like up close and personal, so they can get a chance to see the system in action. They will get an opportunity to ask the prosecutor, the defense lawyers, the judges, ask them questions as it relates to the court system itself. Then they have the correction components when you have probation services there in the courtroom, and the students get a chance to actually see this particular component up close. Then we go out to the prison at West Tennessee Maximum Security Prison. That's one of the most, I think a lot of the students really like that particular field trip, because this is the judicial system at its end when a person has been convicted. And one of the things that the students get a chance to do, they get an opportunity to talk to the inmates, and these inmates convey what the criminal justice system look like from the criminal component of it. That's very important, because one of the things and the goals is to deter and keep people from committing crime. So we go there to look at the mental psyche of a particular inmate and determine what we do, what message do they have that will help contribute to eradicating crime when we get back, because that's the goal of what our criminal justice system should be about.
That's really amazing. Mm-hmm. So for students that has already graduated from Germantown High School and went through the program, what are some of the lessons and some of the advice that they've taken from your class? Well,
the most rewarding thing is when I see these students come back there in law enforcement, actually doing the job. I get a sense of joy at actually seeing them. I have several students, in fact, I just received notification that one of my former students, he's receiving his master's in criminal justice, and he's looking at doing other things as it relates to the educational component of the criminal justice system. I have numerous police officers that's working with the Memphis Police Department, the Shelby County Sheriff's Office, Bartlett PD, Collierville Police Department, and other agencies. And then I have a number of former students that are in the military that's doing policing in the military. And recently I've had about 5 former students that are now, 2 have actually passed the bar exam to be lawyers, and 3 are in law school as I speak. So that's gratifying to me when I see students are doing very well within this field. I get it, it's not designed for everyone, and everyone won't go into the field of criminal justice. And in fact, I just had a student that graduated from Middle Tennessee State that's going into nursing. But she was one of my best students because she was asking all the great questions as it relates to forensic science. And now she's utilizing that to go into the nursing field. So it's absolutely rewarding for me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Collins, for enlightening my audience about this wonderful class.
All right, thank you.
We have to take a short break, but when we come back, we'll take a look at what Shelby County is doing to tackle youth crime and recidivism. It's a conversation that you'll want to hear.
I believe the orchestra program is an important part of education because it gives students a way to process and express emotions that they don't get in other classes.
Good, let's do that one more time.
Before I went into the orchestra program, I didn't really see the value of music until I really got into the community of people who were so into the idea of music. And so I feel like once I got around those individuals, they really helped me find myself and realize that music is what makes me happy.
When I
first went into orchestra, I was a very shy and very quiet and closed-off person, but now I see myself as a bit more confident and a bit more open to not only other people, but to new opportunities.
I believe that the atmosphere is very friendly, but also open-minded. We all are open to hear others' ideas and just come together as one to figure out what we need to do to get to our one goal.
One and ready, go! Here we go. Nice.
The students learn teamwork. They learn how to work together, not just for a win, like in a sports activity, but their main goal is aesthetics and beauty.
I love that in orchestra you get to use music with your peers to create a story, and you get to give that to the world, basically.
For more information about the Kappa program, visit ghskappa.com or call 755-7775. You're watching the award-winning GHS-TV, a nationally recognized student television station.
Welcome back to Crosstalk. Earlier this month, a 16-year-old and a 14-year-old were arrested in Memphis on nearly 24 charges, including carjacking and aggravated robbery. They are just two of the nearly 500 minors who were arrested over the past year for auto theft-related charges. So what to do with these offenders? Enter the Juvenile Court of Memphis and Shelby County, which works to rehabilitate arrested minors, not to punish them. Joining me to explain how the court works towards this goal is Marcus Claxton, Judicial Service Coordinator, and Pamela James, Youth Court Coordinator. Thank you guys for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
So before we get into the specifics, I want to talk about Judge Sugarman and his transformation that he's making throughout the court. Ms. James, can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, he is making great strides in transforming the courts to kind of catch the minor at its early stages if they're doing an offense. Okay?
So Mr. Claxton, why did he feel like this change needs to happen?
Well, he believes in restorative justice. Okay, a lot of our children are placed in situations that's out of their control. We have a lot of juveniles that have mental issues, and Judge Sugarman is adamant about helping our community with mental health and restorative justice.
So when I think of a juvenile court, I think of a judge in a courtroom, but there is much more to that. So Ms. James, can you tell me a little bit about it?
Right, we have several diversion programs at juvenile court, whereas sometimes the children don't even go inside a courtroom. You know, we get them mental help if they need mental help. We send them to programs where they can make better decisions, better problem solving.
So you two work both with minors and you work closely together with them. Starting with Mr. Claxton, can you tell me exactly what you do?
Yes, sure. My title is a Judicial Services Coordinator with the Youth Court Program. And what I do is basically we take first-time nonviolent offenders and we interview them. And we interview and see if they're capable to be a part of the Youth Court Program, which is a restorative justice. It's a diversion program. Like I said, there are specific charges that we look at to see if they qualify, and we actually hear their cases. It's a live, a real juvenile summons. We take charges, misdemeanors such as theft of property under $1,000. We may do assault, simple assaults, possession of tobacco, things of that nature, and then we interview the children to see if they're capable to being in our youth court program.
And Ms. James, can you tell me about what you do at the youth court?
Basically, what Marcus said, we work as a team. Like you said, it's a diversion program where we talk with the parent, we talk with the student, and get their side of the story. We have the juvenile summons in front of us, okay? But we want to know what happened, what went on to make you do what you did. Right now, kids have simple assault charges. It's like a zero tolerance with Memphis and Shelby County schools, whereas a simple assault charge will occur if there's a fight, okay? We try to tell them about the options that they have. We try to make them aware of who they've harmed with this act, and we make them accountable for all actions, okay? And then we try to help them repair or restore what they've broken.
So like you said, your goal is to help repair and restore.
Right.
So how do you guys make sure that the assignment you give to that child is going to be beneficial to them and their future?
Okay. What we do is we offer them sanctions, okay? Definitely they have to perform community service, so they give back to the community. They can't go back and kind of erase what they've done, but they can give back in other ways. If it's a problem where they have maybe ADHD that's or any other kind of mental issues, then we have a program, evaluation and referral services at juvenile court, that we can sign them up for. They can get that care. We also have it where they can write letters of apology, because 9 times out of 10 they don't realize, that, hey, my mom's going to be involved in this. My mom has to drive me from here to there. It's just a lot, and so we just try to make them think. We want them to have muscle memory of the other options that you have.
And Mr. Claxton, do you agree?
I agree 100%. Yes, we actually, the program is set up to where they're learning as well as being responsible for their behavior. We have licensed practicing attorneys who mentor the students, who plays the role as the judge, plays the role as prosecutor, defense attorney, bailiffs, all of the court operations. So the respondent, which is the individual who has the juvenile summons, see their peers. We try to do a peer-based communication, because generally when peers hear from their peers hear from each other, they learn and listen better.
So what are some actions that the court is taking to make sure that these minors are not going to end up in continuously committing crime? Ms. James?
Okay. When I say when they go through the youth court diversion program, that we use everything available to us, okay? Like I said, if they need mental help, then we'll do that. If they need counseling, we'll do that. Whatever it is that they need, we embrace it. As I said before, we want it to be muscle memory. We want you to know, like, so many different paths that this whole act could have went through.
Thank you guys both for joining me, and I had an awesome conversation with you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
To learn more about the Juvenile Court of Memphis and Shelby County, visit their website at shelbycountytn.gov. Up next, we'll learn what the Memphis Police Department is doing to combat teen crime on the streets.
Cut to one and cue talent.
The GHS Fine Arts Department is composed of 6 different disciplines, including instrumental music, which is both band and the strings or orchestra.
My belief is that band is the life of the school. If the band's not fun, the school's not fun.
There's choral music with a variety of different levels for our students, from women's choir, an a cappella group.
So choir is an excellent opportunity for you to engage in the music making process and to create relationships and bonds with your fellow classmates.
We have our theater program, which includes acting and tech theater.
It'll teach you how to be a better communicator, it'll teach you how to work with people better, and it'll teach you how to get outside your comfort zone.
We have GHS-TV and the intro classes that go into GHS-TV.
You're watching the award-winning GHS-TV, a nationally recognized student television station.
Welcome to GHS Insider, the show that's all about the G.
So GHS-TV tries to model a real working station.
And we have a visual arts program that goes up into AP courses and also includes IB level.
I think the arts are really important because they provide students with that safe space where they can express themselves, they can be who they really want to be.
The specificity of what is taught and required to be learned here in this department is so particular that they're going away with abilities and skills that other schools aren't teaching.
For more information about the Kappa program, visit ghskappa.com or call 755-7775. You're watching the award-winning GHS-TV, a nationally recognized student television station.
Welcome back to Crosstalk. As the pressure mounts to fix the juvenile crime crisis in the Bluff City, the Memphis Police Department said is dealing with the repeat juvenile offenders with multiple felonies. It's an issue that they say involves not only law enforcement, but community organizations and churches. Here to discuss what the MPD says needs to change in 2024 is Sergeant Lewis Brownlee, MPD Public Information Officer. Thank you so much for joining me, Sergeant.
Thanks for having me.
So it seems like last year, a lot of people were trying to report that youth crime had went up. Can you tell us since then if the crime has increased or decreased?
Well, we're in the first month of the year, and good news that our Part 1 crimes in general are down 26% so far this year. The Part 1 crimes are your criminal homicides, aggravated assault, sexual assault, and robbery. Those are down 26% this year so far.
So as a student, we spend most of our days at school. So when are these crimes being committed by minors?
Sometimes during school time, when children should be at school. But this is why it's important that people, adults particularly, you have children that are in your love space, whether your children, your nieces, nephews, your cousins, or just kids in the community. You have to pour into them because law enforcement is not the only solution to tamping down crime. It is a community effort, and we need all hands on deck, whether it's your churches, your civic organizations, your Divine Nine organizations. Everybody has a part in reducing crime.
So over the last few years, how has MPD changed the way that they handle juvenile crime?
So MPD is working with a host of people to help provide wraparound services. We want to provide diversion opportunities for students who get involved in criminal activities. We want to show them that there is a better way. We also have different units with our police department, like our community outreach program, our COPS unit, where they do so much volunteer work, helping, mentoring to kids. They participate in Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts. They have a food pantry because some people have food insecurity, and that leads to crime. And so to help combat that, members of our COP unit participate in a food pantry where kids in the neighborhood or adults in the neighborhood can come to the office and they can get food and get help that they need. And we try to reach out to provide, connect them with different services to help them find jobs, mentorship. If people maybe need to go and see if they need to be mentally evaluated, they may need medication. We're just trying our best to help in every way that we can.
So does having police officers patrol the neighborhoods and actually getting to know the community, does that actually help in decrease the crime?
Absolutely. When people know who's patrolling the neighborhood, they feel comfortable, and they'll talk to those officers, and they will let them know what's going on. So an officer will be able to go and speak to a person, and they may not say it out in public because they don't want people to know that they're talking with law enforcement, but they may call the officer on the side and say, hey, that robbery that happened at such and such, that was little John, and and that tip, will help us solve crime, and if we can get that child into a diversion program, then they'll be great. Hopefully we can rehabilitate them and get them squared away so they can become productive citizens of society. But it is very important that we work in our communities, that the people know who we are, and they understand that we're just like you. It's just we wear this uniform, but we live here. A bunch of us grew up here. We've married men and women here in the community. We go to church here. So this is our home.
So you mentioned a little bit about the diversion programs that MPD and your partners created. Can you tell me specifically what they do?
So it's specifically with with Judge Sugarman and the juvenile court system. So they have a bunch of the diversion programs. We're also working with the school systems to find situations where students can go into a different avenue. But ultimately, we have to depend on the adults who have children in their love space to pour into them. When some kid is bringing something bad into your home. When a child brings drugs, guns, stolen property. When that stuff comes in your home. You as a parent, you as an adult, you as a loved one who's older than this child, you have to stand up and demand that they do better.
So why do you feel like it's important to get the community and families involved with their kids to decrease this crime?
Because, again, law enforcement is only one component in reducing crime. We have to have everybody with a hands on deck, like the mayor says, a pandemic approach to reducing crime, because police can't be everywhere. We are reactionary, but you in your neighborhood, you in your home, you know when something's going on. These crimes don't occur in vacuums. People from outer space don't come to Memphis and commit crimes. We know what's happening in our neighborhoods and in our homes, and we have to step up and hold our people accountable. We have to tell our kids, no, don't do that. We have to show them that there is a better way.
So Sergeant, what would you say is the most difficult part of your job in being a leader that the Memphis community sees?
The most difficult part is, just the heartbreak of seeing people, be hurt. That's difficult. You take that home every day, but it's because we're committed. Like I said, we're from the community. We grew up here, and so to see our fellow Memphians hurting, that hurts us.
So moving back to the parents and trying to get them involved, Memphis Assistant Police Chief Don Crow told WMC that it's hard to get the parents holding their kids accountable. Why do you think the parents don't want to be involved?
Well, sometimes the parents are afraid. And again, that's why it's important that even if it's not parents, some children have better relationships with their aunts and uncles. Some children have better relationships with their cousins or with a coach or with a pastor. And that's why it's important that that person, whoever who has that type of relationship with that child, that they have to be sure that they're pouring into those children. They're trying to show them that there is a better way. Sometimes your parents tell you to do something, you don't want to hear it because it's from your parents. But if your aunt or your cousin tells you the exact same thing, it's like, wow, I didn't know that. But mom and dad maybe just told you that. Well, grandma told you that last week. So just whoever you are, if you're in some child's love space, they're right there. Love on them, coach them up, give them pointers, tell them about your experiences coming up, and just encourage them to do better.
Thank you so much, Sergeant, for joining me today and having a wonderful conversation.
Thank you for having me.
To learn more about the Memphis Police Department, visit memphispolice.org. I want to thank all of my guests for providing new insight on some of the criminal justice systems here in the Mid-South, as well as their contributions in working intensively towards social change and improvement. For more information on our programming, please check us out on the web at GHS-TV.org, where we are streaming live 24 hours a day. You can also check us out on Facebook and Instagram. I'm Shiloh Sanders, and from all of us at GHS-TV, thank you for watching Crosstalk, and I hope to see you again.